My good people, let me tell you a very sad story. My girlfriend Becky graduated last year, December the 17th. It was on a Saturday, and that remains the worst day of my entire life. Before I proceed with this story, my good people, this video has been sponsored by Shakina Airbnb. This is an exclusive Airbnb property that is sitting here at the Great Wall Gardens. 3 minutes ride from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and of course 5 minutes drive from the SGR Nairobi terminus. If you want a very cool place to hang out with your family or friends on a lovely weekend, then you got to reach out to Shakina Airbnb, an exclusive 3-bedroom amenity that gives you all the ambience and all the peace that you deserve. Their number is playing on the screen as we proceed with this story. So Becky and I actually met when I was an intern with the Ministry of Water in Isiolo town. I had been posted to Isiolo town to oversee a 6-month water conservancy project for the Ministry of Water. So one day I was taking a random evening stroll within Isiolo township, and I went to a shop to get myself a few things for the house that I was living in by then. That is when I met Becky, who was later to become my girlfriend, then fiancée. I do not want to take a lot of time painting a picture on the beauty of Becky. She was a very beautiful lady. She had just finished her secondary studies, and she was very hopeful to join the university and become a very self-dependent career lady. At that particular first evening when I visited their shop, she was assisting her mother with the sales, and they were very friendly, they were very welcoming, and I made it a point to, anytime within the 6 months period that I was living in Isiolo, anytime I needed anything for my house, I was definitely going to purchase it from Becky's mom's shop. And that's where our love story with Becky begins. So the 3 times that I visited the shop, on the 3rd time we were able to, exchange numbers, and we would pass time chatting with each other, getting to know each other a little bit deeper, getting to share our experiences in this life, exploring on where we have come from and where we hope to go. Most Saturday evenings when I was outside work, and when she had free time from her mother's shop, we would meet and, take strolls out on the outskirts of Isiolo town. And like they say, the rest is history. So my 6 months internship program at Isiolo town ended, and that therefore meant that I was supposed to relocate back to Nairobi, where the Ministry of Water again was supposed to be giving me a permanent employment, what they call permanent absorption. So it was very sad for me as a man to, leave this young lady who had fallen in love with here and go back. If you are akin to people who live in Isiolo, they are either bordering Kikuyus or half of them, a good number, are from the Somali community. So they can be very, very strict on how they raise their daughters, the kind of standards that they set for their daughters. So much as Becky and I had established a connection, we knew too well that for us to actualize this connection into a solid relationship, it was going to be very, very difficult. But then love conquers all, or so I thought. Well, fast forward, I was able to go back to Nairobi. I was able to relocate from Isiolo back to Nairobi, and true to their word, the Ministry of Water was able to give me a permanent job opportunity within that particular ministry. So one day, my very lovely and very beautiful Becky gave me a call, and she told me that she was so excited. This is because she had been actually invited or admitted to begin her undergraduate studies at Mount Kenya University, MKU Nairobi campus, which of course is the main campus. Finally, my dear Becky was coming closer to me. My dear Becky was coming to be with me, and God willing, we were going to, continue with this very beautiful thing that we had started. My good people, that was only the one side of the story. The other side of the story that was very sad is that after a week after my good Becky had given this information and this news that she was finally coming to Nairobi to not only start her undergraduate studies but also be closer to me, 1 week later she called me when she was crying. She was crying on the phone, and she was very hysterical, and she sounded sad, and she sounded so defeated. And she told me, Socrates, I'm afraid that I may not join MKU after all. This is because the kind of fees that they need at admissions, my mother cannot raise, and therefore we have opted as a family to look for a local polytechnic where I can join. Good people, I was very sad. I think love can make a man become very insensitive and all that. I was very, very sad, and I asked her, Becky, how much is this that your mom cannot afford to pay for you so that you join Mount Kenya University? And she told me they needed to attune to up to 35,000 shillings for the first semester, after which she will be given a grace period of 4 months to figure out how she would raise money for her second semester. So it was actually 35,000 shillings that was going to make Becky not come closer to me. It was 35,000 shillings that was going to make this beautiful girl that I was in love with continue staying far away from me. Now, I went to my bank account, my savings account. I had a savings of 41,000 shillings as at that call that Becky made to me. So my good people, I withdrew 35,000 shillings. I was able to send it to Becky, and I waited for my Becky to come to Nairobi and join me. This video has been sponsored by Shakina Airbnb, a very exclusive 3-bedroom property sitting here at Betrayal Gardens. Only 3 minutes drive from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and of course 5 minutes drive from the SGR Nairobi terminus. Are you looking for an exclusive Airbnb where you want to spend time, either for yourself, your friends, or your family? Then Shakina Airbnb is the most exclusive place for you. Have sampled the environment. I wish I would stay here for more days. I'm giving you a direct connection to the managers of Shakina Airbnb. Their contacts are playing on our screen today. So I sent this money to Becky, and true to her word, she was able to come to Nairobi. And I know most of you thought she played me and that she ate the money and stayed back at Isiolo. No. My Becky actually came to Nairobi. She reported to MKU, and she started her undergraduate studies. And to be very honest with you guys, my love story with my girl Becky was something that was truly, truly phenomenal to us. She successfully started off her undergraduate studies, and she was able to maturely, balance between her books as well as the delicate, new yet refreshing relationship that she had begun with me. And to be very honest, being a university student can come with a lot of, financial challenges, because then you are in school, 24 hours of your time is basically set for studies. You do not have an income that is coming through for you. And I promised my Becky that so long as I was alive, and so long as God had given me the opportunity to, have some work for myself, I would, support her financially here and there, basic necessities, household necessities that she needed, as well as, her personal necessities as a lady. I did not have much, but, the little that I had, we were able to, share it. And our relationship was squarely based on the premises of, love, trust, and prayer. So my good people, fast forward, I remember very well, she, grew into a very formidable career lady. Weeks turned into months, and months blossomed into years. And soon enough, my very beautiful Becky was finishing her undergraduate studies at Mount Kenya University. I think, my good people, it's at this time that something happened. When she was, actually two things happened. I had planned to secretly propose to her on her graduation day. I told her that we've, been together, shared love, and the very best way to crown our relationship was to, propose to her on the same day that she was graduating. And then, when she was leaving school, getting into the job market, we would formalize our relationship and begin the journey of raising a young family. Also, I thought, so my good people, I remember very well on her second semester of fourth year, I fell sick. And due to the lung condition that I had to really spend a lot at the hospital. And definitely, once you begin having hospital visits to the tune of staying in the ward for close to 3 months or more, definitely your workplace gives you unpaid leave. So I was in and off at the hospital. My finances were completely drained, and it was very difficult moment for me health-wise and financially. And I think at this point is where I craved for my Becky to be there for me, because I've been there for her. I had helped her settle square, get a space for her undergrad, and had been through with her. I was with her through her entire journey. And at this moment where my health was beginning to take a toll on me, I truly wanted her to be on my side. Sadly for me, Becky got, I don't know whether to say busy or got less concerned, because her hospital visits to me reduced tremendously. She was always complaining that she's very busy. She was always complaining that her new hustle, which was academic writing, by the way, was taking a toll on her, and she really had no time to, come and see me at the hospital. It's up to the moment where I was really, pushing her to the extent where I didn't even have money for my drugs. That's when, she would send me 2,000 shillings and that kind of scenario. There was no problem with that. I think soon enough I was discharged. I went back to my place, and 3 weeks to her graduation, I began sourcing a ring, because you remember I told you guys that I'd actually planned to, propose to her. So she stopped picking my phone calls 3 weeks to her graduation, and I really got concerned. I would try her number, it was not going through. I would try a couple of friends who we shared mutual friends, but they were not giving me clarity on where my beautiful girl Becky was. So I really got traumatized, I really got scared, I really got completely out of reality, in touch with reality. So I think after 2 unsuccessful weeks of trying to reach her, now it was, I think, 3 days that were left to her actual graduation date, I received a call from a strange number. And the person who was, when I picked the call, the person who was on the other end of the line was actually my girl, Becky. So Becky told me how sorry she was. She had lost her phone. She had lost a couple of things. Apparently, her house had been raided by, unknown people, thugs or something. So she'd lost her phone. She'd lost other valuable assets. That's why she, according to her, she had been out of touch with me. She, however, apologized and told me that I was, her graduation was in 3 days' time, and she also instructed me to show up at around 3 p.m. when the usual graduation protocols had been done, that is including the processions and the speeches from the university management and all that, so that by the time I'm coming, it would give us the perfect opportunity to bond and, take photos and get to meet her family and all those, our graduation craze, which I think was very okay with me. I was okay. One thing she didn't know was actually, it's at that particular point I was planning to propose to her. So I said, it's okay, there's no problem. I would show up at 3 p.m. So my good people, the day for the graduation came, and I said that instead of going to the MKU graduation pavilion at 3 p.m., I would go to MKU at 10 a.m. Then, just kubangaiza to the entire time until 3 p.m. That is when I would go and, join my beautiful girl Becky. So that was my plan, and good for me, I'd already gotten the proposal ring that I really wanted to use to propose to her. So everything was basically going on very well. So 10 a.m. that particular graduation day, I left my place. I had, so I'd actually rented out a tuxedo suit for that occasion, and I was set for not only the graduation of my long-term girlfriend, but as well as the day that I was going to put a ring on it and, cement the essence of our love, my love and that of Becky. So I got to MKU University at around 9:40 a.m. I was able to locate one of the restaurants within that particular university. I got myself some coffee as I marveled at how good the graduates of the day were looking, how happy family members were, all looking glamorous. And it was a beautiful day, to be very honest, for both families, relatives, and definitely the graduates. I could not wait for 3 p.m. so that myself too I could join my loved one Becky and celebrate the remarkable success that she had achieved at her university studies. So I took my coffee, And around 11:15, I decided to, take a stroll, check out university premises, the famous Margaret Thatcher Library, the amenities within MKU. So I started walking towards the administration and Senate building of MKU. It was quite a distance from the restaurant where I had taken my coffee. And I saw a group of people. There was a Range Rover Sport, and then there was a group of, they seemed to me like relatives to our graduates. And they were all happy, and they were dancing, and they were ululating. There was a lot of happiness in the air. So according to me and my mind, I knew that at that particular point, this was either a well-off family of one of the graduates who could not contain their happiness or their excitement and something like that. But as I approached the vehicle where the crowd had, circulated, the ululation and the shouts of happiness was too much. And something in me told me there was no harm in basically going to, have a look at who the graduate is and, just have a sneak peek of the entire happiness as I proceed to the main Senate building where I was going to, check out the amenities and the properties. So I got closer to where the Range Rover was, and I could see women happy, carrying some traditional pots, and there were children singing in a circle. But right in the middle of this group, next to where the Range was standing, I saw a white guy as well as one of the graduates, and they were standing close to each other, and they were all looking happy. So for one reason or the other, I found my way to the right middle of the crowd to also have a look at what was happening. And it's at that point that I saw the white guy. Actually, I think he was the owner of that Range Rover. He was, carrying a ring in his hand, and in front of him was actually the graduate. But what shocked me, my good people, when I looked closely at the graduate, it was none other than my very own girlfriend, Becky. I watched in utter disbelief. I watched in great pain as the white young guy carrying the golden ring went down on his knees while looking at Becky, and he asked Becky, "Hello, honey, will you marry me?" My good people, at the point where Becky said, "Yes, I will," and their lips interlocked right in front of me, and the whole crowd screaming and shouting in happiness and blessing them on their union, my whole world came crashing. And for the very first time in my entire life, I saw the sunset at noon.